communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Daily News Update. I am with you, Todd David Goldfinger, watching the news headlines. Now details this time. U.S. President Joe Biden said Friday that he is convinced Russian President Vladimir Putin has decided to invade Ukraine, including an assault on the capital, as tensions spiked along the country's militarized line with attacks that the West said could be false flag operations meant to establish a pretext for invasion. A humanitarian convoy was hit by shelling, and pro-Russian rebels evacuated civilians from the conflict zone. A car bombing hit the eastern city of Donetsk, but no casualties were reported. After weeks of saying the U.S. wasn't sure if Putin had made the final decision to invade, Biden said that assessment had changed, citing American intelligence. As of this moment, I'm convinced he's made the decision, Biden said. President Biden. We have reason to believe that he reiterated that the assault could occur in the coming days. Meanwhile, the Kremlin announced massive nuclear drills to flex its military muscle, and Putin pledged to protect Russia's national interests against what it sees as encroaching Western threats. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin assured the three Baltic nations Saturday that they would not be on their own if faced with security threats from Russia. But he stopped short of promising a permanent deployment of American troops in the former Soviet republics. Austin was in Lithuania as a massive Russian troop buildup and other actions have Western officials saying that Moscow could invade Ukraine at any time, although Russia has denied planning an invasion. They are uncoiling and are now poised to strike, Austin said Saturday, about the readiness of Russia's troops to attack Ukraine. Lithuanians officials voiced concerns that Russian President Vladimir Putin's alleged ambitions could expand to the entire region. The battle for Ukraine is a battle for Europe. If Putin is not stopped there, he will go further, Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis said during a joint news conference with Austin. They're choosing the way that is based on force. We need to send a very clear and unambiguous message that it would be faced by a very clear and swift response. The White House blamed Russia on Friday for this week's cyber attacks targeting Ukraine's defense ministry, and major banks warned of the potential for more significant disruptions in the days ahead. Ann Neuberger, the Biden administration's deputy national security advisor for cyber and emerging technologies, said the U.S. had rapidly linked Tuesday's attacks to Russian military intelligence officers. Britain joined the U.S. in blaming the GRU military intelligence agency for the distributed denial of service attacks that unfolded as tensions escalate between Russia and Ukraine. The attacks, which knocked government websites and a couple of major banks offline for much of the day, were of limited impact, since Ukrainian officials were able to quickly get their systems back up and running, Neuberger said. But she said the Russians could also be laying the groundwork for more disruptive activities that could accompany an invasion of Ukraine. We do expect that should Russia decide to proceed with a further invasion of Ukraine, we may see further destabilizing or destructive cyber activity. And we've been working closely with allies and partners to ensure we're prepared to call out that behavior and respond, Neuberger said. Former President Donald Trump faced one legal setback after another this week as a judge ruled he must sit for a deposition in New York to answer questions about his business practices. His accounting firm declared his financial statements unreliable. Another judge rejected his efforts to dismiss conspiracy lawsuits, and the National Archives confirmed that he took classified information to Florida as he left the White House. Whatever happened, said Jeffrey Jacobowitz, a Washington lawyer who has been following the investigations, quote, I think the weeks will get worse for him, end quote. In a Friday letter, the National Archives and Records Administration confirmed that classified information was found in 15 boxes of White House records that Trump had brought with him to Mar-a-Lago and turned over last month. The National Archives identified items marked as classified national security information within the boxes, end quote, and has been in communication with the Department of Justice. They wrote in a letter, House Committee on Oversight and Reform. The archives also confirmed it had received paper records that it had been torn up by Trump, some taped together and others left in pieces, and that some White House staff had conducted official business using personal accounts. Thank you. We're going to take a short break from the Daily English News and Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned with us. Thank you so much.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Daily News Update. My name's Todd David Goldfinger. Police arrested scores of demonstrators and towed away vehicles Friday in Canada's besieged capital, and a stream of trucks started leaving under the pressure, raising authorities' hopes for an end to the 3-week protest against the country's COVID-19 restrictions. By evening, at least 100 people had been arrested, mostly on mischief charges, and nearly 24 vehicles had been towed, including all of those blocking one of the city's major streets, authorities said. One officer had a minor injury, but no protesters were hurt, Interim Ottawa Police Chief Steve Bell said. Police, quote, continue to push forward to take control of our streets, end quote. He said, adding, we will work day and night until this is completed. Those arrests include 4 protest leaders. One received bail while the others remain jailed. The crackdown on the self-styled Freedom Convoy began in the morning, when hundreds of police, some in riot gear and some carrying automatic weapons, descended into the protest zone and began leading demonstrators away in handcuffs through the snowy streets as holdout truckers blared their horns. Police aggressively pushed back protesters in Canada's besieged capital on Saturday, towing away trucks, arresting dozens of protesters, and finally retaking control of the streets in front of the country's parliament buildings. Scores of trucks left under the increasing pressure, raising authorities' hopes for an end to the 3-week protest against the country's COVID-19 restrictions and the government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The street in front of Parliament Hill, the collection of government offices that includes the Parliament buildings, was the heart of the protests. It had been occupied by protesters and their trucks since late last month, turning into a carnival on weekends. They're trying to push us all away, said one protester, Jeremy Glass of Shelbourne, Ontario, as authorities forced the crowds to move further from the Parliament buildings. The main campus seized now. We're no longer in possession of it. Canadian authorities also announced they had used emergency powers to seize. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost here. Okay, I hope that's the right thing. Canadian authorities also announced they had used emergency powers to seize 76 bank accounts connected to protesters, totaling roughly 3.2 million. That's 2.5 million US. On Saturday, they also closed the bridge into the nation's capital from Quebec to prevent a renewed influx of protesters. Democrats and Republicans each want to flash election year signals that they are riding to the rescue of families struggling with rising costs and the 2-year-old coronavirus pandemic. Not surprisingly, the parties differ over how to do that. And in comments and votes in the Senate last week, each side fleshed out themes it will use to stir up support in this fall's voting for control of Congress. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican Kentucky, talked about inflation, bashing President Joe Biden and Democrats for policies like curbing drilling on federal lands that he said were stifling domestic energy production and driving up gasoline prices. But he also raised culture war issues that have flared in the nation's schools, including mask mandates and social justice instruction that conservatives find objectionable. Hong Kong reported 15 coronavirus deaths and more than 6,000 confirmed cases for a second day in a surge the Chinese territory's leader says is overwhelming its hospitals. Also Saturday, the government announced plans to have construction crews from mainland China build isolation units with 10,000 beds after crowding at hospitals forced patients to wait outside in the winter cold. There were 6,063 confirmed cases in the previous 24 hours, raising the territory's total of 46,763. That was down slightly from Thursday's 6,116, but one of Hong Kong's highest daily totals. Hong Kong has tightened travel and business controls as it tries to contain the surge. On Friday, Chief Executive Carrie Lam said the election for her post would be postponed by 6 weeks to May 8th due to public health risks. We're going to take a short break from the Daily English News, Millennium News TV 24/7. Stay tuned.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Okay, hello. Welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Daily News Update. Lawyers for Prince Harry told a court hearing on Friday that the British royal is unwilling to bring his children to his homeland because it's not safe. Harry has launched a legal challenge to the UK's government's refusal to let him personally pay for police protection when he comes to Britain. His legal team says Harry wants to bring his children, Archie, who's almost 3, and 8-month-old Lilibet, to visit his home country from the United States, but he thinks it would be too risky without police protection. Harry, who lives in Santa Barbara, California, with the children and his wife, Meghan, who did not attend Friday's preliminary hearing. The court considered requests by both sides in the case for parts of some legal documents to be kept private. Senior members of Britain's royal family are given taxpayer-funded police protection, but Harry lost that when he and Meghan stepped down as working royals and moved to the United States in 2020. The couple said their decision was due to what they described as unbearable intrusions and racist attitudes of the British media. Harry, also known as the Duke of Sussex, wants to be able to pay for the protection, saying his private security team in the US doesn't have adequate jurisdiction abroad, or access to UK intelligence information. A modeling agent who was close to disgraced U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein was found dead Saturday in his French jail cell, where he was being held in an investigation into the rape and sex trafficking of minors, according to the Paris prosecutor's office. Victims of the alleged abuse described shock and dismay that the 75-year-old agent Jean-Luc Brunel will never face trial. They described his death as a double blow, as Epstein killed himself in 2019 in a Manhattan jail while awaiting sex trafficking charges. Brunel's lawyers suggested Saturday that he too killed himself. In a statement, they described his distress and repeated requests for provisional release from jail. Jean-Luc Brunel never stopped declaring his innocence. They said his decision was not guided by guilt, but by a deep sentiment of injustice. The lawyers would not further comment on what happened. Paris police are investigating Brunel's death. The investigator's office said Brunel's legal team had repeatedly complained about the conditions of his detention and sought to have him released pending trial. We've seen her on the legal drama All Rise, originally on CBS and First Wives Club for BET+. But Ryan Michelle Bathe has jumped to the top of the marquee as a star of The Endgame on NBC, debuting Monday. The series co-stars Morena Baccarin, Homeland, Deadpool, and Gotham, to name a few, as Elena Fedorova, an international arms dealer who, in the pilot, has just been captured. Fedorova is always at least one step ahead of everyone else, so even in custody, she's got the upper hand. The only person who comes close to figuring her out is Bathe's Val Turner of the FBI, a buttoned-up, by-the-book agent. Val's hit a rough patch because her estranged husband, a former federal agent, was caught taking drug money, and she turned him in. Viewers will soon notice these two characters seem to have way more going on than meets the eye, which will play out over the course of the season. Stay tuned. That two women are the stars of this thriller series for network television is a huge step, acknowledges Bathe. It's not about, oh, could she seduce next? No one's getting seduced on our show. End quote. Lincoln Center will honor Cate Blanchett with its 47th Chaplin Award at the arts organization's annual fundraising gala. Film at Lincoln Center announced the award for Blanchett on Friday. It will be presented to her on April 25th at Lincoln Center's Alice Tully Hall. We're thrilled to welcome Cate Blanchett back to film at Lincoln Center, where 3 of her films have previously screened as part of the New York Film Festival, said Leslie Kleinberg, executive director of film at Lincoln Center, in a statement. Miss Blanchett's career includes extraordinary performances in films ranging from small independent efforts to major studio franchises, and with some of the most renowned directors of our time. It is our privilege to dedicate an evening of celebration to her and add one more accolade to her many well-deserved awards. The previous Chaplin Award Gala, which honored Spike Lee, was postponed more than a year by the pandemic and was ultimately held last September. The Chaplin Award has been given out since 1972, and previous recipients include Alfred Hitchcock, Billy Wilder, Elizabeth Taylor, Martin Scorsese, Meryl Streep, and Sidney Poitier. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Daily News Update. Arbitrators have rejected a last-ditch request by American figure skaters to have their silver medals rewarded before the end of the Olympics. The Court of Arbitration for Sport said early Sunday in Beijing that it dismissed the appeal by the 9 skaters who finished second in the team event marred by a doping positive from a 15-year-old Russian Kamila Valieva. It did not elaborate on its decision and said it would release details in upcoming days. The panel, with arbitrators from Denmark, France, and China, met for 2.5 hours Saturday evening. In an earlier decision, CAS had allowed Valieva to compete in the women's event after her doping positive went public following the Russians' victory in the team event. The International Olympic Committee responded by saying that no medals would be awarded in any event in which Valieva finished in the top 3. Losing the case means the U.S. skaters will receive their medals months, maybe even years from now, after Valieva's case winds its way through hearings and appeals. She led the Russians to a convincing victory in the team event. If that result is overturned, the U.S. would get gold medals. Brandon Brown drove into NASCAR's home track and immediately saw his name everywhere. Banners, yard signs, T-shirts, flags waving atop row after row of flashy RVs. One of the most unrecognizable drivers in the NASCAR is in the clutches of a swirling culture war he never asked to be a part of as he quietly pursued a racing career. Take a look around the Daytona infield and the Let's Go Brandon flags that dot the landscape outnumber the ones for Earnhardt and Elliott, and embody the unofficial battle cry of the sport's right-leaning fan base. NASCAR denounced the slogan, "The fans who turned Daytona International Speedway into a Republican rally when former President Donald Trump visited 2 years ago, some still gleefully recall his face slap in the armored presidential limo called the Beast, have reveled in hijacking a televised faux pas as an insult directed at President Joe Biden. Brad Keselowski knew his father was losing his battle with cancer when he promised him he'd win last year's Daytona 500. His effort ended in a fireball when Keselowski was involved in a last lap crash while racing for the victory. I knew he was pretty sick, and his prognosis was he wasn't going to make it through the summer. I said, "Dad, we're going to win the Daytona 500, Keselowski said. It's bittersweet that it didn't happen while he was still alive. Bob Keselowski died in December, and his son is back at Daytona International Speedway, still trying to fulfill his promise. Keselowski will try to snap an 0 for 12 streak in NASCAR's season opening race with his new team. He left Team Penske a month before his father died to join the ownership group of Jack Roush's organization. The rebranded RFK Racing Team swept both Daytona 500 qualifying races to put Keselowski next to teammate Chris Buescher in the second row for Sunday's start. The wins Thursday night were the first in any race since 2017 for a Roush organization in need of Keselowski's engagement to return to the ranks of NASCAR's elite. This was in the Daily News Update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for watching. Log in to get the latest news, all of our social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Millennium News 24. All our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Now on both network broadcasting Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views. Our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA, Android, Millennium News, Google, www.millenniumtv24.com. Stay with Millennium News 24. Thank you, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.